Welcome to the Soul Touched by Dogs podcast, the show for dog lovers who see dogs not as toys or tools, but wise souls worth our respect and care. I'm Anke Herman, and I'm your host. I talk to awesome humans, people who do great work for dogs and their people. So come and join us for today's conversation. Hello and welcome, Marisa. I'm really excited. I always say it, but it's always true. But this topic is really dear to my heart. So I've had my own not so great experiences. So as somebody like you, and I'm gonna stop teasing now and hand over. Marisa, let people know where in this lovely world you're based and what's your business with dogs.
Awesome. Thank you, Anka. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. So I have two rescue dogs, and we are currently based in Phuket. I'm Canadian. And so this was our second international move. We've been enjoying beach life, and we're going to be having a third one back to Canada in June. My current business is Paws Abroad, which is our starting product at the time of this recording is a digital pet travel planner, because in doing multiple international moves with my dogs, I realized that this industry is so fragmented. There is no up-to-date information, and so our goal is to provide customized information to pet parents to make pet travel more accessible. And our long-term goal is to really become that go-to place for international pet travel for people that love that sense of freedom and lifestyle, but also not bringing their dogs alongside for those adventures is not an option.
Oh, that's so needed because it literally does feel like, or you travel somewhere or you stay with the dogs, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think places have become more pet friendly, but
Mm-hmm.
the travel part is still. So, I mean, we were just chatting before. It's like I've had several experiences that were, well, let's call them suboptimal. So I'm like, oh my God, when I heard that's what you're launching, it's like, oh boy, this is so needed. So what's the biggest challenge that people face? That there is no information, that there's wrong information, that it's like not doable for the people or the dogs, or like what's the biggest issue?
Yeah, well, there's several. I'll give you a little bit of story into how we got started. So I have two rescues that are here with me, and I adopted them in Hong Kong. And I moved back to Canada in 2018. So this is when I kind of first became aware of this issue. And one of the biggest challenges in this space is, like, especially in expat communities, you see a lot of people giving up their dogs. It's really sad because the places are transient because they feel they can't travel with them. And, that long term is one of the problems I really want to tackle. But in doing this international move back to Canada, I was so fearful. This was my biggest fear about the move, something going wrong with their paperwork or they're not being able to come. I hired a pet transportation company at the time, and it was like thousands and thousands of dollars. It was so expensive. This particular company was not great. Like, they weren't friendly. They didn't really, reassure me with the whole process. Anyways, like, I just was so stressed throughout this whole process, and I just didn't really feel like I was understood what was going on or what the requirements were. And anyway, so I moved back to Canada in 2018, and after that, this whole thing was like so stressful. I thought at the time, oh my gosh, I can never travel internationally again with my dogs. This was like so stressful. And one of my dogs, so I got really involved in the pet space in Canada. So one of my dogs, she was actually a breeder dog at a puppy mill in Hong Kong, and she had several different health problems, including the fact that she was so overweight she could barely walk. And multiple vets told me she needed a $5,000 knee surgery or would never be able to walk long term. And anyways, just to give you like a bit of background on me and how this comes back around to pet travel is I ended up making this mission to really heal her health. Started working with a veterinarian, a holistic veterinarian in Canada, who recommended that I switch my dogs to a whole foods diet. And anyways, long story short, I ended up, really getting into the whole food space. I'm actually a certified canine nutritionist now. And my dog completely healed her health through whole food. She lost half her body weight, never needed knee surgery. And so this was 7 years ago now,
Wow.
right? And so, still here and in Thailand, and we won awards. So and based on that, sorry, I didn't mention. And then after that, I saw the big gap on the market, and I ended up founding my first company, which is called Puppy Gang Fresh Foods, and it was a direct-to-consumer human-grade dog food company. Worked with a holistic veterinarian to develop the recipes, and we won awards for the most nutritious pet food in Canada. And got to the point of I sold the company and was working for the company that acquired us for 2 years and did a planned exit out of that. And then at this point, so this was a little over a year ago, and I was kind of thinking of my next move, and I realized, so I had been, tied to Canada because I was growing my business. And finally, I had this kind of unprecedented freedom, and I was looking at my next move, and I was like, I really just miss living abroad. But I kept feeling that my dogs were a barrier to this. But then I decided, you know what, we've done one international move, I can do it again. So that's when I decided to take the plunge and yes, you know what, we're going to move to Thailand. Because I had lived in Thailand in 2018, spent a lot of time here over the years, and just was really craving that kind of beach life and slower pace. And I obviously, because of my own business, knew a lot of people in the pet space in Canada, and I reached out to a pet transportation company that I knew to get help with the paperwork. But I had lived in Asia for 8 years before, I know my way around relatively well, and I did obviously my own research before getting on this call. And she had got me in touch with her Thailand relocation expert, and the woman gave me the wrong information. So she told me that I couldn't fly into Phuket. I could only fly in through Bangkok. And the really interesting thing is I've spoken to multiple other people in Phuket who've had the same thing happen. And they've had to then drive all the way, which is a 12-hour drive, by the way, from Bangkok to Phuket. Close. This misconception. And the other thing, I was, wanted to use Korean Air, which is a Sky Pets program, and they're an excellent airline. She was kind of trying to deter me from using them. And so I didn't have a good feeling about the call. And then I got the quotation, because this was just the preliminary call, for just consulting services. So bear in mind, this doesn't include the vaccinations or the flights or anything. And it was 1,300 Canadian dollars after I received the wrong information. And I was like, oh my God. And this is when I realized, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this on my own. And then I realized how confusing this industry really is, and how it's people gatekeep information. They charge exorbitant amounts of money just for access to information. And that's when, and I happen to have a brother who is a software engineer.
As one does.
Yeah. And so we've created as our first product a digital travel platform, travel planner, where you enter your dog's customized information, and they give you customized checklists based on, we've started with 10 different countries to start, all of the import export requirements, alongside with timelines, calendar integrations, and recommended airlines and flights for the dates that you're going. So this is just our initial product. What we're really excited about, we're launching now the early access, but we really want to build a community of users. So we're getting people in now, and we'll be building out features and routes based on what users need. But we really want to be that go-to community, and
like the Airbnb for dog travel, right?
Yeah, because there's so many people that are craving this international lifestyle. And, you and I connected because my post went viral on LinkedIn. It just shows people are really craving this lifestyle of freedom and remote work, but then feel like having their dogs is a barrier. And I really want to, debunk that whole thing that,
I just love this so much. I mean, in my case, I got the dogs after I'd moved to the nice place. So, but literally there is this, it's always a concern. It's always a concern. 100%. And there's all these different, and the biggest, and the nerves that go around it, like that sense of, what if they told me something wrong? What if I get there? And, and the whole travel thing, it's stressful for us, and it's stressful for the dog. So I'm always like, what if I now get to the airport and they go, oh, well, yeah, well, that's fine. But you'd also need this other thing that nobody told you about, right? So to know you're well informed, and not coming like, oh, but this is only valid for 12 hours. That was something that was told to me many years ago, that, oh, there's a particular certificate from the vet that's only, and so if your flight's delayed, oops,
Yeah.
and then the dog's gonna be in a quarantine or something like that. So I mean,
So
it's
scary.
stressful anyway, so you definitely don't want to do anything wrong, right? So, and like to have all the information to know that for sure you're prepared and well prepared, then that just takes all the pain out of it. So that's incredible.
100%. And the way that we see this is, so we long term, I think, as we know, like the whole, pet people as a whole are recognizing pets as more part of the family now. And they're really, you're seeing that humanization of pets now. But for whatever reason, that's still not reflected in this industry. So we really want to change that. And I see what we're doing as not, necessarily competing with other people in this space. I think this is such a big issue that we're trying to solve. So for us, we're really trying to build out a community and strategic partnerships around the world to really I think I'm a big believer in collaboration over competition, and that's my vision for it long term is for us to have these strategic partnerships on the ground in these different countries to help us as well, and us kind of be that like intermediary platform of connecting everyone and
Yeah.
everything.
I think I'm like looking at sort of initiatives that I've had over the years where I was like, oh my God, like, nobody knows. And so the up-to-date information can be quite challenging. Like, how do you manage to stay up to date with all of it?
Yeah, well, we're leveraging technology where we're pulling in monthly up to date information. So we're actually, just the way we're leveraging technology is that we're actually we're actually pulling in information from government websites and on the import export regulation, and we're doing regular searches on these, as opposed to the existing solutions on the market are static information. So they're just like on someone to update, they're not up to date information. And then, you're seeing the younger generation going to something like ChatGPT and entering the answer. But like the worrisome thing is like ChatGPT can be so convincing, but they lied to you. So
Yeah, it just tells you what you want to hear, right?
yeah. And this is another reason, because it's such a big problem we're trying to solve, why we've decided to start with only 10 countries and just make sure we have all of the up-to-date information and forms. We also have embeddable PDFs. So if the country has forms that you need to fill out, we also have that all in there in one spot. So yeah, we're really excited. So there's nothing quite like us on the market right now. And we're really excited because this is just the beginning.
Oh my God, like so even like literally there's a checklist. So you need this and here's the form for it. Oh my God.
Yeah. So if it's them, because generally, so we don't have the forms for vet. Part of our rollout plan is to build out a vet portal as well, because vets are actually having the same problem. They rely on Marisa, for example, to go in and say, "Hey, I'm going to Thailand. What do I need?" So that is in our plan. We are going to be building in pet passports and a vet portal to help kind of
Yes.
track of the vaccinations and paperwork side of things for the vets, as well as one of kind of our initiatives we have planned in the next year. But for now, it's certain countries like Thailand, for example, there's a form you need to fill out. So we have that embedded in directly in there, because that was one of the problems I had. I was like, I knew I had to fill out this form, and I was like literally like in forums, like it was so inaccessible. So yeah,
Yeah. And it's where I mean, like I'm just looking at this like in Spain, it's like, oh yeah, where the heck do you find the form? Right. And then quite often you have the language barrier on top of it because it might be just hidden. And I mean, like here, government websites are just like, I don't know,
oh, they're
what like
all
user
yeah.
interface design just wasn't invented when they come out with these. And so they have like it's really hard to sometimes the stuff is there, but it's like not intuitive, it's sort of at the bottom. There's some
Yeah.
weird link that usually doesn't work. And if it does, like it's like even finding the form is an issue. And then on top of it, if you're in a country where you don't speak the language that well, you can't even read all the stuff because it's that formal kind of language. And I know that in French it's the same. It's like you might be
Yeah.
able to speak, but read a government website, that's a whole different
It's a
language.
totally different ball
And
game. Yeah,
and so
100%.
to have the like, okay, you need this form and here it is, like that alone is like
Yeah,
a
like
game changer. And also not
exactly.
missing any steps, right? Because that's the thing. It's like quite often when there's this different organizations and different things involved, like one doesn't know about the other. They know to do their thing, but they don't, like it's easy for you to kind of skip a step if you don't know about it.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, so that's why we will be getting into more, personalized solutions because we know, people, but as of right now, we just wanted an affordable, accessible solution for people to get started with and be able to travel with their pets.
So good, so good. I'm like, this is, one of those when you see it, it's a little bit like Airbnb. It's like, why didn't nobody think of this before, right? So it's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, it's so where can people go to sign up to find out more about it? And what are the
Yeah.
10 countries like to start
Oh,
with?
yes, yes, yes. So the website is pawsabroad.co. And also, always happy if any of your readers have any direct questions, you can reach out to me at my email, which is Marisa, Marisa, at pawsabroad.co. And the starting 10 countries, don't worry, we will add Spain and Italy in there as well. Those are in part of the, but as of right now, it's Canada and the US, Costa Rica, Mexico, UK, France, and Germany, and Thailand, Singapore, and Hong Kong.
Wow,
Or
wow. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There's so many countries. It's like, Jesus, it's gonna be big, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and it makes sense, like my background software development is sort of like, okay, let's just start
Cool.
with, and then iterate to amplify rather than to create a giant mess from the start. Like it makes
Exactly.
all the sense
Well,
to me.
Well, and that's what I'm most excited about because I don't see this as like us just building for people. We also, and that's why we're getting we've opened up early access and we're leaving, a lot of, for me, my big specialty is, customer retention. I also have a consulting business. So I work with brands on like messaging and positioning and loyalty and retention as well. And so my big thing is really thinking about like building with the user in mind and building that community and giving people a voice. So we're built in that user feedback loop. So we'll be building out like features, and that's where we're opening up early access. So it's not, it's an ever growing thing that we're trying to build, and we're going to keep building in different routes and different features based on that user feedback. So that's also really what I'm excited about, because that really makes people feel like they're part of something too, and it's not just us building for them.
For sure, for sure. I've joined several, platforms like in those like wasn't even beta or alpha. It was like, we'll like the code is still wet, right? So and it does create that community because you will have questions and they go, oh yeah, well actually how are we gonna make this work? So it's just that, I mean, that process needs to be managed well because it gets messy quite quickly if everybody, like those different things that users want. And
Yeah.
but it's like it's so needed. I'm so glad I stumbled across this
Me
post
too. I'm so
because
glad we met as well.
because
Well,
it's such a game changer because I live abroad, so I'm like, I've not lived in my home country in like 30 years. So it's
yeah,
like, boy, it's so needed, right? Because the experience that I've had would like, yeah, I wish something like this existed. So I'm very
for
glad it
sure.
now does.
Me too. Well, I'm so excited, and I'll probably be in Spain in the fall, so we'll have to meet in person if I
Oh,
am for sure.
that would be amazing. I would, yeah, that's always
Yeah.
the real fun thing. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much. We're gonna pop the link right below, so make it really easy. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this takes you. And
Thank you, Anka.
the traveling dogs.
I really appreciate it, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, and we'll be in touch soon for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review so other dog lovers can find the show. If you haven't already, head over to soultouchedbydogs.com and sign up for weekly doggy cuteness, tips, recommendations, and personal stories to warm your dog-loving heart. And if you know a awesome human you think I should interview, I'd love an introduction. Email me at Anke, that's ANKE, at soultouchedbydogs.com.